Leaders in Internet media and the American-made movement. You're listening to Internet Radio America.
Greetings, folks. You're tuned in to Parrots, People, and Pets. Once again, broadcasted live from the Mendocino Forest in Northern California. Your hosts tonight, once again, are Michael and Mandolin Koss. We look forward to speaking with you, hearing your opinion, answering your questions to the best of our abilities. And please remember that the first 20 minutes of our show, we're going to share important information with you. After that, we're going to be taking calls. Is everybody ready to go? Okay. One of the things that I want to start with here is we're talking about Memorial Day. And Frank, you played some absolutely outstanding music, clips of yesterday's fallen heroes. And I loved it. I listened to it all weekend, my friend. So, as I said, one of the things I want to touch on here is what Memorial Day is all about. Memorial Day basically is we salute those who served and those who have fallen that allow us to have another day to be able to wake up and feel safe within our homes, within our jobs, to and from, and to be able to sleep soundly. Many people, believe it or not, they confuse Memorial Day and Veterans Day. Memorial Day is a day for remembering and honoring military personnel who've died in the service of their country, okay? Particularly those who died in battle or as a result of wounds sustained in battle. While those who died also are remembered on Veterans Day. Veterans Day is the day set aside to thank and honor all of those who served honorably in the military in wartime or peacetime. Did you know? 3 years after the Civil War ended on May 5th, 1868, the head of an organization of Union veterans, the Grand Army of the Republic, referred to as GAR, established Decoration Day as a time for the nation to decorate the graves of the war dead with flowers. Major General John A. Logan declared that Declaration Day should be observed on May 30th. It is believed that that date was chosen because flowers would be in bloom all over the country. The first large observance was held that year at Arlington National Cemetery across the Potomac River from Washington, D.C. The ceremony centered around the mourning-draped veranda of the Arlington Mansion, once the home of General Robert E. Lee. Various Washington officials, including General and Mrs. Ulysses S. Grant, presided over the ceremonies. After speeches, children from the soldiers and sailors, orphan home, and members of the GAR made their way through the cemetery, strewing flowers on both Union and Confederate graves, reciting prayers and singing hymns. The goal of Internet Radio America, folks, has always been to help Americans and to help America. Now, I have a couple links that I want to share with you, and you're probably going to need a pen and some paper to write this down, so hurry up. I want to share with you the Facebook link to Internet Radio America and also the Twitter link. And I would like for you folks to join them, to become a part of them. They're there to listen to your input, to respond to your input, and to share your feelings about how you feel being an American, what would you like to see changed, and the supporting, more than anything, of American homegrown businesses and American products. Okay? So the first link to Internet Radio America's Facebook page is this. And the reason why I asked you to grab a piece of paper and a pencil, because it's rather long. It's www.facebook.com/pages, PAGES, /internet-radio-america, /130-493-093-656467.
If you're on the actual InternetRadioAmerica.com website, they have a little Facebook and Twitter icon at the very top of the page, too.
Super. Thank you, Mandy. Twitter.com. Theirs is really easy. You know what, you guys, Internet Radio America, I love you guys. Your link could have been just as simple as this. I'm not sure why we needed all these numbers and all these things, but for Twitter, it's twitter.com/Internet Radio AM. Okay? Internet Radio AM. All right, one of the subjects that we want to speak of tonight, and I've gotten a lot of feedback from this, and I want to share this with you, and I think it's really, really super important. One of these things is taking your bird outside. Now, I've heard from a lot of different folks that they take their birds outside and take them for walks in the park and things of that nature. Some just simply sit on their shoulders. Some are on leashes. Some are even in carriers. Leashes, in one sense, I would think to myself, as well as yourself, that, you think, okay, you have your pet on a leash, so therefore it's completely out of harm's way. If it attempts to fly off or whatever, there's not a problem. Well, guess what? I've had people that have communicated with me directly, and I've just cried my eyes out, okay, that they've had their bird on a leash, sitting up on their shoulder, and a hawk has come down and torn that bird away from that leash and carried it off. So this is what I want to share with you, and that's this. Think, people, please think. If you live in an area where there's predators like that come from the sky that can zap your bird, don't think that you're going to be one of the lucky ones, and every time you go out with your bird on your shoulder, or every time you go out with your bird with a leash and things of that nature, that because it's on a leash, it's totally protected. Guess again. As I said, I've heard from a number of people. I spent all this money. I learned how to train my bird to work with a leash and all of it. 2 months later, it got ripped away from me. And there wasn't anything I could do but just stand there and watch my bird being carried off by talons and cry my eyes out. So, once again, I reiterate, please, just because you've been lucky so far doesn't mean that your luck is going to change. The free radicals, that's what I call them, the things that happen when we least expect them. You're the protector of your bird, your mom, your dad. You're everything to them. And if you want to take and bring your bird out just so you can, walk through the park or whatever and go, oh, I've got a bird, and check me out, check my bird out, isn't this cool? Think about really what you're doing, all right? Please think about this. Some of you may be thinking to yourselves right now, okay, Michael, I don't have a problem with this. I've been doing it for years, etc., no problems and stuff. And there are people that have communicated with me, as I said, not to be redundant here, people that have communicated with me and told me that they had done this time after time after time, and then that one instant, and every night they go to sleep from that moment forward and grieve and beat themselves up psychologically. They beat themselves up heart-wise. It's something that happens that you will never, ever be able to forgive yourself if you do not pay attention to the information that you're getting now. And I say this respectfully. I say this respectfully to you folks. Take care of your birds. Take care of your babies. You are their lifeline. You are their hope. You are the one that dictates how long they'll get to live and how safe they're going to be. Put your ego aside for a minute, okay? And what I mean by that is what I mentioned earlier. Most people that want to take their birds out to parks and things like that, to malls and blah, 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 whatever, it's not about them actually wanting to take the bird for a walk or for a ride. What I have found, and I'm being brutally honest here, okay, what I have found, it's that you want to take and show somebody else that you have an awesome creature that people can marvel on. And that's beautiful. I mean, I understand. Everybody wants to be proud of their child, okay? And birds are children trapped in bird clothing, okay? It's as simple as that. So please think again when you go to take your babies outside and what you're risking, because it can happen. It has happened. Please listen. All right, we're going to move on to the summertime and outside aviaries. And one of the things that I want to take and mention and speak of is mosquitoes. Okay, mosquitoes are responsible for some really, really nasty bird diseases. West Nile, there's a number of different ones. And a lot of people have actually said to me, they actually wrote this, believe it or not. They wrote this to me and they said, well, my bird is has all these feathers on it, just tons and tons and tons of feathers. There's no way a mosquito is going to take and punch through that. And I write them back and I go, did IQ suddenly drop when I walked into the room? Their faces and that flesh around their eyes, macaws, is very, very vulnerable to mosquito bites. Just takes one mosquito with the wrong kind of bacteria inside of it, and you say goodbye to your bird, okay? So if you live in an area that's infested with mosquitoes, usually they come out later in the afternoon and in the early evening. That's when somebody rings their dinner bell, okay? Think again and be wise. Don't take them out. Just don't take them outside then. Because once again, you're the parent. You're the one that they depend on. You're the one that they believe in. Now, for those of you that have outside areas of aviaries, and lots of birds that stay in there sometimes 24/7, or you just simply take them out during the day and let them all go in this beautiful aviary. Let them commune together as a flock. I mean, that's beautiful. I love that whole idea of doing that. There's two options that I'm actually myself. I'm working on the concept of creating a monstrous, huge aviary up here in the Mendocino National Forest. And one of the first things I'm going to do is to make damn well sure, first of all, that this aviary is completely enclosed in mosquito netting, okay? All the way around it, so a mosquito cannot get through it, okay? The only vulnerability of this is that when you open the door and close the door to either put your birds in or to bring them out, these guys can fly in a heartbeat. So how do we keep this from happening? I've done a ton of research, and once again, pick up your pen and pick up your paper and listen to what I'm about to tell you. There's a company called Blue Rhino, okay? And if you look it up on the internet, it's Blue Rhino, and the actual part number for this, it's called a VAC Mosquito Elimination System. The item number for it is HN-ES605. Currently, they're going for $319. Okay, now for some of you, you're going like, oh man, that's a ton of money to spend. And others of you are going, that's nothing. But no matter how much it costs, bottom line is what I'm trying to share with you is this. Are your birds worth it? Do you have outside aviaries? Do you want to bring your birds out in the evening or the early evening so that they can say hello to the sunset? Then I recommend that you invest in something like this, because this thing, it emits a certain odor or fragrance or something that actually attracts mosquitoes and pulls them in and nukes those bad boys in a heartbeat. If you're going to take your babies out in the middle of the war field, at least give them some sort of protection. So this item, once again, Blue Rhino, look it up on the internet, Blue Rhino, Skeeterback Mosquito Elimination System. Currently, they're going for $319. And you know what? That's not a whole lot to pay, is it? When you think to yourself that if you brought your bird out and a mosquito nailed them and it died, how much money would you be willing to spend to bring it back, okay? How much would you spend? I want to stop heartache. I want to stop the stupidness, and once again I say that respectfully, the stupidness and the dumbness and the ignorance of some people that have these beautiful creatures and don't have a clue of what the obstacles are that can take them down in a heartbeat. This show is about sharing with you knowledge. This show is about hearing from you and you sharing your stories and your knowledge so we can make it just a little bit better and a little safer for those beautiful creatures trapped in bird clothing that are so very, very dear to us. Potential household dangers, okay, for parrots are as follows. We mentioned a little bit of this last week. Is nonstick cookware, okay? That's one of the biggest and worst dangers. Is PTFE, polytetrafluoroethylene. You'll probably recognize it best under the brand names of Teflon, Silverstone, and Supra. Please be aware, okay, please be aware that there are other trade names that market PTFE. Write that down, PTFE. When overheated, nonstick cookware emits several types of gases and hydrofluoric acid. Also, once with nonstick pans are scratched, or they're tainted, okay, in any way, they're more susceptible to emitting these toxins even at a regular cooking temperature. Bird owners, listen up. You should avoid all these products that have PTFE as they are deadly for your bird. PTFD is not just on nonstick cookware either. I've learned a lot, man, in the last couple of years of doing research, and I had no idea then, but I'm going to share this with you now. Please read labels so as a bird owner you can avoid having this product in your home. Household products including burner, drip pans, space heaters, curling irons. I mean, I'm sure there's still a lot of you, especially in the Midwest, that still use those. I used to be a cosmetologist, and believe me, you're just trashing your hair by doing that. But anyway, regular irons, hair dryers, electric skillets, and many others can be made with this nonstick coating. Open flames and heated surfaces, okay? Burners, stoves, candles, fireplaces, use your head. Or just some of the things we use on a daily basis can be detrimental to our birds. This is a really important one here. I've had people also contact me, and oh my God, I just, please get it. Please get clear. Standing water. That's in a sink, a bathtub, an open toilet, a hot tub, pools, aquariums. A bird can drown very quickly in standing water, so always be aware of where your bird is in the home. Mandolin, I'm going to give this up to you for a minute, sweetheart. And please feel free to share your information. We're going to go to break quickly, and then when we come back, I want Mandolin to have a few moments to be able to continue to share her information that she wants to share with you. And please, Mandolin, go ahead.
Okay, well, we're going to take a break in just a tiny bit. Before we go, I just wanted to mention that also a lot of household cleaning agents that contain chlorine, bleach, and ammonia can cause death in your birds in just minutes. Stuff like hairspray and new carpets can have formaldehyde in their glue. Things like that, just simple things that you don't really think about. Make sure to take a second look at the ingredients and what it contains. And when we come back, hopefully we have some time to talk a little bit more about some of this stuff. But stay tuned, and we'll be taking your calls after this break.
cleaning your gutters the hard way? Put your ladder, gloves, rake, blower, and hose away and never pay another penny for gutter cleaning services again. Keep your feet safely on the ground with this lightweight, safe, fast, and easy to use, American-made, do-it-yourself gutter clutter buster. And stop those gutter cleaning woes today. Log on to order the Gutter Clutter Buster for only $29.99. Add 54-inch extensions at $17.99 each. Or own the 3-piece kit for an amazingly low price of $59.99. Order now.
Go to www.gutterclutterbuster.com. Made in America.
What if the armies of the Lord picked up and dusted off their swords, vowed to set
We still believe. Real, raw Christian talk with Jay and the Duke. Live every Sunday night from 8 to 9 Eastern Standard Time. We're uncut, in your face, unbiasedly speaking the truth in love. We're America's best Christian talk show. Only on Internet Radio America. The voices of we the people.
What if his people prayed?
When you buy products that are made in America, you are helping to employ more American workers. Putting more Americans back to work is how we are going to strengthen and restore our economy. Since we can't depend on our leaders or an act of Congress to put us on the right track, it's up to each and every one of us. Please, buy American made. KB Footwear Company manufactures a line of protective boots and shoes that help keep American workers safe and comfortable on their feet. Our shoes are made right here in America once again. When you are in need of a new pair of shoes or boots, consider buying a quality American-made product from KB Footwear. And we can really use your support by contributing to our Kickstarter campaign. Please visit us at www.kbfootwear.com or at www.kickstarter.com and search for KB Footwear. Thank you.
This portion of the broadcast is brought to you by Tillytown, proudly selling American-made. Look for a unique place to shop for the perfect gift? Then come visit Tillytown. That's TILLIETOWNE.com. 100% American-made.
Hi guys, welcome back to the show. We're talking about dangerous to your pet. Hopefully I can cover not only some of the dangers to your bird, but also for dogs and cats. If we have time, I want to talk about cage aggression as well in your bird. But for now, let me go over some of the dangers to your bird. I kind of went over this last week, so I'm going to kind of go through it quickly. We can get to dangerous dog and cat toys. But some of the main things that are dangerous for your birds are any toys that can eventually expose elastic bands that can choke your bird or get their limbs stuck around it. One of the companies actually is called Happy Huts. Like I said earlier, if the bird doesn't mess with it, it's fine. But once it starts chewing down to these dangerous bands and stuff like that, you need to replace it or just get rid of it. Also, something I didn't mention last week is zinc, cadmium, and lead poisoning. You want to only look for stainless steel or nickel-plated metal when you're looking for bird toys or even toy stands. I know a lot of the washers on these things can have lead or zinc in them. But if your bird doesn't mess with these things, I wouldn't worry about it. But if you see your bird chewing on the metal, I think you need to check it out. There's a lot of different ways that you can tell if a metal is zinc or lead or cadmium. The only way to really test them is with hydrochloric acid, but that's not really available to a lot of the public. But I know that they do sell testing kits for that kind of stuff. But, I mean, if you just want to be safe, just replace the metal with stainless steel. A lot of the chains can be easily replaced with stainless steel chains if you really don't have a clue. One clue, if the metal is not shiny, it's probably zinc, like a lot of the washers that you'll find on toys and even play stands and stuff like that. I know that galvanized wire is usually lead or zinc. Some things that also contain lead are cardboard boxes with certain dyes, Venetian blinds, tile, linoleum, and even tap water. And also, something that was kind of interesting is the clappers that are in some of the bells. Some bells, I know that they make them so the birds can't really reach the clappers, but some of them can, and they can actually take them out and start chewing on them. I know that some of those contain zinc. One way you can tell that your bird has these metal poisonings is you notice weight loss. They're drinking a lot more than usual. There is excess urination, diarrhea, or weakness. Okay. I mentioned some stores last week, some safe bird stores for toys and things of that nature. I have a couple new ones this week that I wanted to mention. First, I wanted to mention Chirpindales. Chirp, the letter N, D-A-L-E-S. They're a Canada-based company. They have competitive prices for all their toys. They have cages for birds and even other small animals. I wanted to mention OnceUponAWing.com. I know they have free shipping right now at $25, and I know they ship internationally, and they have 40% off shipping for those guys out of the country. And also I wanted to mention Bastrop Cages, B-A-S-T-R-O-P, cages.com. I know that up until May 31st, all of their proceeds are going to the wildlife ambassadors of Oklahoma to help with all the pets that need help after that horrible tornado that passed through the state. So if you want to donate to the cause, that's a great way. They sell cages, toys, I believe they sell supplements, all kinds of things. Okay, I want to talk now about some unsafe toys for dogs and cats. This is kind of surprising because you see a lot of dogs playing with this, but the tennis ball. A German study was done suggesting that the glue that they use to make these tennis balls is actually damaging to the dog's tooth enamel, which can eventually lead to tooth decay. Another thing that you see a lot of dogs playing with is tug toys, which aren't really dangerous health-wise, but if you have a dog that already has a problem with aggression issues, the tug toy, I mean, when you allow the dog to take it from you, it's just going to, it makes it more likely for the dog to develop a progressive sense of dominance. And a lot of problems can arise from that when a dog feels like it's more dominant than its owner. We kind of talked about rawhide last week. We talked about poultry and rib bones that can break and splinter, cutting the inside of your dog's mouth. It can even cut the throat and digestive system. I've also seen some people buy rawhide for their birds to chew on, which is not a good idea. Many Chinese imported toys contain dyes and preservatives and chemical residues that are very toxic to dogs and cats. They can be tainted with toxic metals such as cadmium, lead, and chromium. All your dog has to do is lick or chew the toys, and these cancer agents and neurological poisons are released into your pet's mouth and into their system. Also, I was talking last week about latex toys and how dangerous they are to birds, but they're also dangerous to dogs and cats because they contain lead and BPA, which is a hormone distributor. All right, I want to talk about some cat toys that are dangerous and also even some litters.
Mandy,
yes.
I don't mean to interrupt you here real quick, but when you were referencing the different types of toys that contain lead and things of that nature, folks, one of the biggest stores in the world with probably the most employees of any company worldwide is Walmart. And Walmart sells these toys, and most of these toys that they get are, and they are filled with lead, they're filled with poisonous, different types of toxins that not only will take your bird down, but can take your children down too. They put it in the dolls, put it in all of these things. So Walmart's going to continue to make millions and millions of dollars, okay, with or without our help. But what you can do to make sure that your bird, your family is safe, shop American-made products, okay, and American-made homegrown businesses. Because for some reason I have found, in the years that I've been alive, that for some reason Americans have pride. They have a beautiful pride in what they make, what they produce, and they stand behind it. We succumb very, very easily, of walking into the store where we can save a few dollars and things of that nature, and buy something and think we're getting a really good deal. Financially, you are, but as far as your bird's concerned, it's a death sentence. So once again, people, please, and I say this respectfully, wake up. Don't support these stores anymore that offer these products that really should have a skull and crossbone on the front of them, okay? Go ahead, Mandy.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to touch on cat toys really quick, and then hopefully we'll have time to talk about cage aggression in birds. If you have cats, avoid toys that contain ribbon, yarn, or string. They can ingest it just like birds can with the string toys and the yarn toys, especially the latex toys, which do not digest. They can ingest it and choke on it. It can also cause a blockage in their intestines. Another thing that's really popular with cats that people don't think about is those little fake mice and their little plastic eyes that can be swallowed. If your cat likes these toys, you can get them, but maybe think about removing the eyes first. It's a good idea. And also remove any type of those toys that have feathers on it, because your cat can eat those and choke on them. Cheap stuffed toys, little stuffed animals that your cat likes to tear open, they can actually swallow the filling and choke on that. But I want to talk about litters for a second. Cat litters that contain perfumes as a type of odor control, they can really irritate your cat's eyes. They can aggravate allergies. And a lot of the litter that's out there contains a compound that's called sodium bentonite. It's used as like a clumping agent, and when the cats lick their paws and their hands after using the litter box, that clumping agent can actually cause internal blockages in their intestines, and actually it can cause death over time. Another toxic substance in cat litter is called quartz silica. It's a type of dust that's actually known as a carcinogen, and it can cause respiratory problems and even lung cancer. And a lot of cats at times will actually eat the litter, which is dangerous because it swells in the intestines. Some of the symptoms you can look for if your cat has trouble with any of these kinds of compounds that are found in litters are constipation, muscle weakness, and lethargy. A good idea is to look for a cat litter that's made from wheat, newspaper, or corn, something that's free of dyes, perfumes, and any kind of carcinogens. One example that I have here that's made from all these good things that I'm talking about is called World's Best Cat Litter, and they actually have a website called worldsbestcatlitter.com. So try and look for your litters online, because I know it's kind of hard to find a litter that doesn't have any kind of carcinogens or any kind of perfumes or dyes at the store. So just look online if you have some free time, and it will probably cost a little bit more, but it's probably worth it.
One of the things I want to interject right now regarding the cat litters and the clumping litters and things of that nature that you folks have that have cats, do me a big favor right after the show, or even get up right now and do it. Take that clumping litter that you have for your beautiful, precious little furry thing that climbs up on your lap, that gives you loves, that has no idea. Go in and take that cat litter and throw it in the garbage, and do it now. Get rid of it. Because I want to believe that you give a damn enough to take and throw away $6, $8, $10, this big bin of clumping cat litter, throw it out and show your animal and show yourself and show your heart that you give a damn, and get rid of it. Please do this, okay? These pets, as we're trying to evoke to you each week, these pets depend on us. They believe in us. They don't have the tools to be able to stand up for for themselves, okay, to go shopping on their own and read the labels and know what's good for you and what's not good for you. You're the mom, you're the dad. Get clear and make it better. Create a better world for your animal so it has the dignity and the respect to be allowed to live as long as it can. Don't be the one that has to shut its life down because you wanted to save a few dollars. Go ahead, Mandy.
Okay. Well, actually, right now I want to talk about, we've been asked many questions involving this in the past, and we thought we should kind of touch on it this week. Reasons for cage aggression and how you can help your bird get through that. Some of the reasons for cage aggression in your parrot, obviously, is past abuse, if it has a history of being hurt by its previous owner, especially once it's brought out of the cage. A lot of birds see their cage as, their safety area, and all they want to do is focus on getting back to the cage once they're out, and they want to be in their cage all the time. So I'm going to talk about some reasons that that could be. Actually, in the wild, the larger birds, like the macaws, have less and less space to build their nests now. So usually instead of relocating to another nest and looking for a whole other place, a macaw in the wild is more likely to actually stay at their old nest and just choose another mate rather than go out and looking and, all that work that's involved with building another nest. This is a reason that some macaws are territorial of their cage. And most macaws that we have in our homes, at the very most, are second generation from the wild. So all this captive breeding that's going on hasn't really gotten rid of these natural instincts yet. As for smaller birds, like quakers and lovebirds and parakeets, in the wild they're known as communal nesters because they usually nest near many others of their same species. And they're constantly fighting over nesting spots and quarreling with their neighbors. And that could be a reason that maybe you're having an issue with your smaller bird becoming territorial of their cage. And when you notice that your bird is acting frightened or scared, the worst thing that you can do is to make a fuss about it or try to soothe your bird because you will probably end up reinforcing that behavior. Just act like it's no big deal. Just keep on doing what you're doing. I mean, don't keep scaring it, but, just don't make a big deal out of it. Because attention is attention, and whether it's bad or good, sometimes a bird it'll just end up biting you in the back because it's just going to reinforce the fear in the bird. When a bird's body language becomes aggressive, sometimes it's a good idea to have the bird step up onto something like a perch or a play stand or a tea stand. It can help you move the bird safely out of the cage if you need to clean it, or, if the bird is really that aggressive that you can't really clean it with the bird inside, that's a good idea to have a perch or a play stand nearby. And if the bird is really aggressive and you have it on the perch and it'll actually attack you from the perch, it's a good idea to hold the free end of the perch up because birds are less likely to climb down. And it's also a good idea, in addition to the perch, whatever you have in that hand, the play stand or whatever, in your other hand, it's a good idea to have something to block an attack. If your bird is really that aggressive and you think it's even going to climb down the perch to attack you, maybe something just like a stuffed animal or a towel to block the attack just in case while you're moving him to the play stand or wherever you're going to put him. When you're doing the perch and the tea stand training, it's a good idea to use treats. If your bird is really scared to come out of its cage or it's too aggressive to come out of its cage, it's a good idea to put a tea stand or a play stand outside of an open cage door. And don't use treats too freely during the training process because then they're going to lose their value. Only use the treats during training so they know that treats are going to happen if they complete the training correctly. We're going to talk about this a little bit more, perch and tea stand training and additional training for aggressive birds. When we come back, we're going to take a short break. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you after the break.
just in on Internet Radio America. Breaking news. Jay and the Duke have just taken over the entire bandwidth for exactly 1 hour every Sunday night at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time with the message of freedom and liberty. The First Amendment to the Constitution prevents any force of tyranny from stopping them. This is a red alert. I repeat, a red alert. The revolution has just seized the radio. This is the Radio Revolution.
Can't seem to find the right size wrench? Are you tired of searching for the right tool? Introducing the Loggerhead Bionic Wrench. It's 14 wrenches in one. Any size, just squeeze and turn. The patented design produces a powerful mechanical advantage. Pliers and adjustable wrenches can strip the corners, but that won't stop the Bionic because it grips on all 6 sides. Simply squeeze and turn. American made and a proven winner. No more guessing. Easy to use. Adjusts like a pliers. The Bionic wrench is 14 wrenches in one. Everyone needs one. At home or on the road. With the patented gripping power. The Bionic grips them all. It's a gripping experience. Thousands of uses for the Bionic wrench. Makes a great gift for everyone on your holiday list. 100% American made. Lifetime guarantee.
Tuesday on Internet Radio America. It's Beans and Apples. Sax and Rowdy in the house to talk about New York and Boston. It's the sports. It's the culture. It's the fans. Beans and Apples, a special sports talk show between New York and Boston. 8 p.m. Eastern, Tuesday nights on Internet Radio America. This portion of the broadcast is brought to you by the New England Trading Company. Discover the best of New England products from artisans all over New England. It's thenewenglandtradingcompany.com. 100% American made.
Welcome back, everyone. We're going to continue talking about cage aggression and some of the things you can do to stop it. And then we're going to take calls. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to call us. The call-in number is 617-381-4700. But anyway, I was talking about T-stand and perch training. If your bird is too aggressive to come out or is too scared to come out, a good idea is to place the play stand or the T-stand next to the open cage door and let your bird watch you drop the treats into the dishes. Then move away. Try this for like a week or so, and then stop putting the treats in the dishes. But still leave the play stand by the open cage door. Once the bird comes out onto it, let them see that the treats are in your hand now. And eventually, he'll become comfortable with your approach. And then try and bring, you can actually, at this stage, hopefully lift your bird on the play stand and carry it out of sight of the bird cage, because you want, the whole point of this is to get the bird over the feeling that the only safe place is their cage. You want them to feel safe with you, safe on the play stand, safe anywhere else in the house besides just focusing on the cage. And this also works for a lot of cage-bound birds that haven't really been taken out ever or haven't been socialized and have been neglected. It takes a couple weeks to socialize with the bird outside of the cage first. You can try giving it treats, compliments, talk to it nicely and in a good tone of voice. And once it's comfortable receiving a treat from you, offer the treat at the open door. Then he'll probably be more willing to allow your hand in the cage if you want to start practicing stepping up. And when the bird finally trusts you enough to step up onto your hand, one of the good things to do at the very beginning of this stage, when the bird is finally comfortable enough to step up on your fingers, is to only hold the bird for a few seconds and then put it back on the perch or the cage, because the bird is seeking the safety of its cage above everything else. And so you want the bird to know that once it steps up on you, it's going to go to safety. And eventually you can hold the bird for longer periods of time. But the point is to teach the bird that nothing bad is going to happen while you're holding it. So hopefully these tips will help you If you have a cage-aggressive bird, a bird that's very territorial of its space, or a cage that's just very scared, a bird that's very scared to come out of its cage, or maybe a bird that has never really been brought out of its cage. And I know Michael wants to add a few things to this, and also if you want to call in and ask questions or make comments, feel free to do that.
Folks, we're ready to take your calls. I'm sure that the switchboard of life is lit up on Internet Radio America like there's no tomorrow. Okay, can I call in and ask a question? All right, one of the things that Mandolin was mentioning regarding cage aggression and things of that nature is this. Your bird comes into this world with very, very few tools of how to deal with a human being. Okay? They didn't get to go to school. They didn't get to see the video on how to deal with these things called humans. All they have is their feathers and their little tiny bodies. Did you know that a bird only has one layer of skin? And the rest of that is covered with feathers to create protection for them? When the vulnerable get together, they mention their names, okay? Do you realize human babies, okay, are probably the most pathetic things that exist? And I say that because of the fact that we're the only ones that are so overwhelmingly needy and so afraid and so scared.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Michael, but we have a caller on the line.
I'm so ready. Please.
Hi. Hey, my name's Katrina Halverson, aka Feather Hugs, and I make a lot of my toys, and I wanted to find out what are some of the most safe things to use to make the toys.
Would you please repeat that, please? I've got a couple macaws on my shoulder right now, and one of them had its beak in one ear, and I'm trying to lift it out of the other. Please say that again.
Okay, my name's Katrina Halverson, and I make most of my toys. I was wondering what would be considered safe. I do a lot of exploration in the woods and try and find, natural wood and things like that. And then I try to find natural rope. But I'm wondering if I'm not doing something right.
Okay, the toys that you make, for what kind of birds?
I have a number of different. It's assorted. It's all the way from finches, one budgie, to blue and gold macaws.
Okay, so macaws. Okay, let's start there. Okay, let's start with the big boys and then move down. Okay. Now the big boys, as far as macaws go, I make toys too, but I try to, but I've got 29 babies here, and I've got them right where they want me, okay? So I won't really get that much time to go out into the wood shop of life. But one of the things that I think is awesome wood that you can use to make toys for macaws that aren't going to shred a $100 toy, okay, in 15 minutes, is to use either madrone or manzanita wood, okay? We use manzanita for our perches. Because if you ever notice, if you have macaws and you buy these, beautiful powder-coated cages, and they come in with these little pine perches and stuff, it usually takes about maybe a week, maybe less, for all of a sudden the macaw is down on the bottom of the cage and the perch is shredded. So when I make toys, I primarily use either manzanita or madrone. The reason for that is it's a very hard wood. It's going to take them a countryman. In other words, your granddaughter is going to be graduating from college by the time they can chew through one of these bad boys and drop the bottom. Okay.
Well,
so
I have basically an entire apple tree in there that I cut all the branches and debarked it and made perches for all of them. and I double-checked. I think the applewood is safe so long as it's cured and debarked. So, and
as
they
far as
can't
I've heard regarding
that.
Oak, oak is another one, okay, that is also really, really good to work with, and it's longevity, okay. When you make a toy, okay, if you actually, you're in the business of making toys for birds, one of the things that I object to more than anything, and I say this respectfully, is you got to make a toy that's going to last. I bought $100, $150 toys, in the past for my macaws, and 20 minutes later, they're shredded, and they're down at the bottom of their apartments. I call them apartments instead of cages, okay? They're down at the bottom of their apartments. So I would use the hardest woods, the safest woods possible. Oak is good, stone is good, manzanita is good. That way, people are going to go, you know what, you may not sell as many toys back to the same person, but you're going to sell a whole lot more to a whole lot of other people, because their investments, they're actually going to have something to show for it other than just simple wood shavings at the bottom of the apartments and going like, oh, my God, my bird is screaming at me because it wants something else to tear apart. Give them a challenge. Manzanita, oak, and madrone are three awesome woods to take and use if you want to create bird toys that's going to last for your larger birds, okay? Now, as far as toys for finches, I've got a couple finches here, man, that have they could eat and scratch a soul out of a devil's wife in a heartbeat, but you know what? The toy that they enjoy the most is a big sprig of millet, okay? They tear into that like there's no tomorrow. I mean, they do. They go after it. So millet is a really, really, believe it or not, it can actually be used as a toy. You tie that thing off at the top of their apartment, let it hang down, and watch them go crazy. Watch them go crazy with it. And speaking of that, speaking of your smaller birds, your parrots, your parakeets, your parrots, you guys that are putting mirrors, okay, inside of your birds' apartments, your smaller birds, and they're alone, they're by themselves, and you put a mirror in there, and then every time you go to reach in to bring them out or to give them a kiss or something, and they want to bite your finger off, you know why that's happening? Because the mirror, okay, when they look in the mirror, God, I wish I had that kind of fantasy. I was able to do that myself, but they look in the mirror, they see another bird. They don't see themselves. They see a buddy. They see a companion. And they don't want anything to do with you because that companion in the mirror is always there. Okay?
Now, I do have my macaw. I make her a lot of premium toys and stuff because when I got her, she's going to be destroyed and she's supposed to be aggressive, and she self-mutilates, and I've been trying to get her to stop that, so I make a lot of preening toys. But she's been making herself at home lately, and she climbs everywhere to every mirror. And so I did put a mirror by her cage, so I should take that away.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, because you know what? Most of you guys that have birds, in fact, all of you, all right, I'm going to be like brutally honest here. All of you that put mirrors in your birds' cages and you want to have a relationship with them, it's not going to happen until you remove the mirror. Okay?
Okay. Well, I just did this, so I am so glad you mentioned that.
And thank you for calling in, okay, and mentioning that as well, too. We both here have shared something that's beautiful, and bless your heart for doing that, because there's a lot of people that think, oh, I'm going to put a mirror in the cage and it's going to make all my birds' dreams come true. However, I'm not going to deal with it anymore. Bless you for calling in.
All right. Thanks for meeting you, Mike.
You're very welcome, sweetheart. Positive smiles, and give your flock a big hug for me, and lots of birdie kisses. Okay.
All right. I sure will. I'll talk to you on Facebook.
All right. You got it. Good night.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay. We're waiting for our next caller. I have a couple people on the chat wing here that say they've been attempting to call in and the line is busy. Folks, keep trying,
I'm
please.
Here. Michael?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, this is Paloma, Kathy.
Hello, Paloma.
I finally got through.
Oh, awesome. Thank you so much for your tenacity. And do any of you guys know what Paloma means? Paloma
White dove?
It means dove, yes.
Yeah.
There's a beautiful Spanish song, and look it up on the net and download it. It's one of the most beautiful songs I've ever heard. La Paloma. It's just absolutely beautiful. In fact, my birds actually love that melody. I actually learned how to play it on guitar, and it's beautiful. Anyway, go ahead, Kathy.
Well, and as you know from being having lived in Tucson, La Paloma is actually one of the big resorts out here. So is that the name of the song also, is La Paloma?
La Paloma, yes.
Ah, okay. Well, hey, listen, I was just going to comment on following up on what Mandy was talking about. I typed it on the chat roll here, but just thought I'd call and mention it too, that my African gray, I took in about 8 years ago, and she had not been handled and was not tame at all when I got her. And what I used to do would be to go in. I taught her to step up and all that. So, but occasionally, as with grays are unpredictable anyway, she would, as soon as I hold my finger out and say step up, she knew what step up then meant. But occasionally she would just nail me really hard, bite. And what I found out after a while is, of course, after many bites, is that she didn't like fingers coming at her. And what I started doing is, and I've not been bitten once by her since, is I offer my wrist to her, and I keep my fingers tucked in. You know what I mean? I kind of make a fist and offer her my wrist and say, step up. And that is great with her,
That's a fantastic idea. Bless you. Go on, please.
And then just one more thing I wanted to say was that I recently got your CD and your DVD, both recently, and I just adore them, and you did such a wonderful job on those, and they're so relaxing, and they're not just for the birds. So me and the birds both have been enjoying them, so I just wanted to comment on that too and say kudos on that.
Bless your heart. Thank you so very, very much. Yeah, I put a lot of work into that. Folks, those of you that, and I'm not trying to plug my CD or my DVD, but bottom line is, for many, many years, communication to me is the most important aspect while we're on this planet. And so I use subsonic and ultrasonic sound coupled with rainforest music to take a distressed bird and basically make them feel like they're back in the rainforest. They're not alone when you go to work and things of that nature. I love bird.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We hope to see you next week. Stay tuned for We Still Believe, 8 o'clock Eastern. Real, raw Christian talk. Hopefully, you'll tune in next week. We'll see you later.
And don't forget, my friend Trace, Pets Rescue, etc., on Wednesday evenings, okay, at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Awesome information, a wonderful human being. Good night.